Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shauna from Created and Made, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how you can use our gel plates to make these crystal clear gel prints. As you can see the background through the print. And I'm going to show you 5 different methods you can use to create these crystal clear gel prints. Fun stuff ahead, stay tuned. Okay, let's just jump right in. And method 1 is one you've probably seen before, but people usually do it on a smaller scale, and that's tape pulls. Now, this method will work if you make sure that the paint is dry, the method that I'm showing you now. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of doing a drop shadow style print, and I added the light blue, and I'm going to add this Prussian blue, and then you let all the layers dry completely. Now, I have this 4-inch Scotch book tape that is really sticky, and it allows you to pull a larger print than you would be able to using regular Scotch tape or what have you. And as you can see, it pulls off pretty clean. That part that's left on the plate was not adhered to the tape at all, but you can see how it comes out in the end, and it's pretty clear. And what I'm going to do is I'm sticking it down to a piece of acetate to sort of allow the sticky part to adhere to something else that is clear, and that makes it more usable for me in the end. So that is method 1, and that is the tape pull method. You can see how well that turned out though. And I think the next method I'm going to show you is the adhesive label pull. I mean, it is similar to the tape method in that it is using tape, but I'm going to use a full sheet of adhesive label paper, and this just allows you to pull a much larger print. Now, as you see here, I'm covering the whole plate. This is my 8x10 plate. I'm covering the whole plate with this really I like this stencil. I forget the name of it. That was from the Crafters Workshop. I'll drop a link in the description. But I'm doing another sort of drop shadow design where you put the first layer of paint on, you let it dry completely, then you put the stencil back on. You have to clean the stencil. You do have to do that. Put the stencil back on, and then you shift it slightly to the left or right or up or down, and then you apply a second color of paint, as you see me doing here. And what that does, as you can see, is you can see the sort of copper paint as a shadow, and on the back side it's the reverse image, which you'll be able to see with this clear print. Now, that's what I'm using, printable clear sticker paper from Silhouette Cameo. I put a whole sheet of it over the top of this, and I'm just burnishing it down now to get the print to pull off. So that's what it looks like. And what I'm going to do to sort of block off the adhesive so it's just not randomly sticking and stuff is that I am actually coming in with a second sheet of adhesive label paper, and I'm just putting it right over the top of this print, so that closes off the sticky parts and it makes it usable for our projects. Now, I'm going to show you a project later that I did using this particular print, so make sure you watch to the end. And this is just an extra example of an adhesive tape pull. I used the same Silhouette Cameo clear adhesive paper. It is very sturdy, and I'll drop a link to it in the description. It works really well for this technique. This is another drop shadow print. I'm not sure what the name of this stencil is. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me, but I think it's from Joggles, and it's sort of an art deco style, and you can see how that double-sided, I love that double-sided effect where you can see both colors front and back. So this is method 3, and I had a lot of fun with this method. It's the laminated plastic wrap method. Now, I know that sounds weird, but it's gonna work really well if you continue watching. So what I'm doing is I have my 5x7 gel plate, and I've taken some plastic wrap and stuck it down to the gel plate. I mean, it's cling wrap, so it wants to cling, and the gel plate has a sort of clinginess to it as well. So I stuck the plastic wrap down, and I am working through a stencil here with my lunar paste by Simon's Lunar Place, Simon Hurley. And so although I'm working on the gel plate, I'm working on top of plastic wrap. So you want to make sure that your stencil doesn't move around at all, and go ahead and get that paint or paste or whatever you're using down. I'm doing another 2-layer effect here, so that you get that sort of cool double-sided look that the other prints had before. And so once everything's dry, it's really important that everything's dry when you're doing lamination. I actually let this dry overnight since it is paste and it's a little thicker. It takes a little longer to dry. Very important that you let everything dry. Ask me how I know that is very important. If the paint isn't dry, it'll just sort of liquefy in the laminator, and you don't want that happening, trust me. So I'm pulling off my plastic wrap here, and I've trimmed it down because you don't want any of the plastic wrap hanging out of the lamination pouch. So I've trimmed it down, and I'm just putting it in my lamination pouch. I have a second print there that you didn't see me make, but it is also done using the same method, and I run it through my laminator, and you can see how very well that turned out. Like, I have some usable plastic laminated colorful pieces that I can turn around and use in my arts and crafts, and you'll see me use that pink and yellow one later on as well. This is another laminated plastic wrap print, but I did it a little differently, meaning I put the plastic wrap on top. Well, I put the paint first, and then I took the plastic wrap, put it on top, and sort of mashed it down to get the paint to transfer, instead of sticking the plastic wrap to the plate first. It's just a different way to do the same thing. You'll get a less clean look with this method because you're mashing the paint, but as you can see, it still works really well. It looks nice, and you'll see a project I did with that print as well at the end of the video. Contact paper pulls. Okay, so this is just a variety, it's a theme. You need something sticky to pull the prints off of the plate, and contact paper will do that as well. Is very affordable. Obviously, you can get a big roll of it. I'm doing another drop shadow print here with a Ciao stencil. I'll link it in the description. And so one side is this dark gray, the other one is sort of a copper color, and I pulled out my clear contact paper. I believe you can even get this stuff at the Dollar Tree. I cut it down to size, and I'm just sticking it down to my plate. You want to burnish this really well because this adhesive is, not super sticky. It's contact paper, so it's meant to be removable. It's low tack, so you want to burnish it down pretty well, and it might take a few attempts to get the whole thing to pull off, and it might not even pull off cleanly. I think I had a few issues with this one, but it will work, and it is a method by which you can get the clear gel prints. Now, some of these methods are less clear than others. This is one of them that while you can see through it, it's not like crystal clear. The laminated plastic wrap one was probably the clearest one that I made of all of these methods, and I'm actually going to go ahead and laminate this one as well. I think you can stick it to itself like I did with the adhesive label, or you can laminate it. It doesn't really matter. It'll work either way. I laminated this one, obviously, and I have a nice, clean, crisp print to work with when I'm done. And I think I'm going to jump into the final method here, which is pretty cool as well. It's the laminating film pulls. So we have the laminating film that we've been using this whole time, but what you can do is that you can pull a print directly onto the laminating film and then just go ahead and laminate it after it's fully dry. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing a rainbow motif on my 8x10 plate using this Carrington mirror stencil, and I'm lifting this up here. You can see I have all this paint, lunar paste, actually on my plate. So I'm taking my laminating film, and this is the inside. of the laminating film, and I'm just pulling it like I would pull a normal print using a piece of paper. But you can see I'm just using my laminating film. Now I made my laminating sandwich and I went ahead and laminated it as usual, and you can see what I ended up with was this really cool piece that is ready to use in a project. Okay, so before I move on from this, I just want to point this out. You see what I circled there? That is paint that wasn't fully dry. And there's another part over there on the other side. That is paint that is not fully dry. It was probably sort of thick on the edge, and then I sent it through the laminator and it liquefied and it is spilled out the edge. And so I want to make it really, really clear that if you try this method with the lamination, you have to make sure that the print is completely dry, especially if you're using something thick like pastes. You can just muck up your laminator or maybe even break it, so that's why you want to be careful of that. So what do you do with all of these clear gel prints? I'm going to show you guys a few ways that I use them before we finish up this video. So the first way is I made these really cool envelopes out of my clear gel prints. As you can see, you can just open that up. I added a Velcro closure here, and it's a really cute way to send someone a gift or a card. And I also have them in these smaller sizes. This is a 3x3. You can see my basket weave was the stencil that I used on these. So envelopes you can cut using, I did these with my We Are Memory Keepers punch board. Another way you can use them is I added a sort of a spray here from the wedding aisle at Hobby Lobby to this really cute bookmark, and these are sturdy and flexible, so great for bookmarks. Now, I tried my hand at card making. I am by no means a card maker, but I used this. This was the laminated plastic wrap, one of them, and I used it as my backdrop to a simple greeting card. And I don't know if you can see it, but the background has a sort of a graph paper finish, so you can see that through the gel print. I have here just a folded and stapled mini journal. It has this little adhesive closure that could be better, but it's just folded and stapled, and you can see the front looks like this and then the other side looks like this because of the translucency of the lunar paste that I used for this. So little journal there. Here's another mini journal, but it is in the disc style. It also has the sort of the double-sided effect with the same colors of the lunar paste here, and this is some art paper that I cut down to 3x4, and this is the front and the back. Another journal. This is probably my favorite one, to be honest. I love the texture that this Dina Wakley watercolor paper adds to the journal because you can see the texture through the cover, and this one also has that double-sided effect where it's dark here and you can see more of the orange on this side. So I forgot this one when I was talking about envelopes. This is just a different size envelope. You can use it. I have some other clear gel prints in there, some ephemera. You can just use it to store cutesy little items. You can use these as sort of tip-ins or add-ons to your journal pages. This is a tip-in here. I've adhered it with some tape. This is nothing. It's not doing anything. And this is the same sort of tip-in. I really like how this green on green sort of came out. It's a larger size tip-in. I also used them somewhere else if I can find it. Here's another set of the gel prints here, and it really adds the glossiness, adds a texture that can be really cool on your journal pages. And finally, there was another one. I think I used some here, and I just went on ahead and adhered these down with some white glue, I believe. I put the white glue behind the parts that are more opaque so that you can't see it when you look at it from the front. And finally, I used one of my clear gel prints to add a cover to this planner that is undated, so I got it to use for a future time, but it just had a plain white background cover like this, and I used actually double-sided tape to stick down this clear gel print over the front. I think it came out really cool looking. So those are some of the ways that I use the clear gel prints, and I hope that those ways got your creative juices flowing. If you like this video, please go ahead and leave a like, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I hope to see you guys next time, and in the meantime, keep creating and making. Bye bye.